Hey, and welcome to Throne and Liberty with Aragon. So here I just want to give you some top tips for the Cave of Destruction. I found that many of you are actually doing this last boss fight incorrectly. You can get through it much faster with these tips. But first of all, some notes on the dungeon if you've never run it before and want to know what it differs from the Cave of Desperation. I did cover that level 40 dungeon in this video if you want to check it out. But new here, you will find what's particularly nasty are these mutant explosive ants. If you're near them, they're going to explode on you and deal about 3000 damage. Your healer can compensate you for that, but generally you shouldn't be taxing them. You need to time your dodge so that you mitigate all of their damage, otherwise kill them before they get to you. Other than that, there's just a bit more to kill before you can get to the mutant princess ant. Again, just watch out for those explosive ants. Beating up the princess is nothing really new, same mechanics as in the Desperation dungeon. Just with those larvae, make sure you're swapping them with other players before they explode on you. Because when they do, they deal quite a decent amount of damage to you, which, yeah, you can't just avoid. Just go near another player and swap them. Then you're going to go and try and beat up the giant acid ant. Again, you will have those suicide ants coming to deal damage to you, as you just saw there. And otherwise there's a bunch of larvae and things to kill here. The mutant giant ant, again, same mechanics as you find in the level 40 dungeon. She's still going to have that rage mechanic, pulling somebody in and putting like poison on the ground, generally a bit later, and if you have a good healer, they'll make up for it. But getting to the last boss, that's where the important changes happen. You will note first of all that instead of the red mist mechanic, you end up with this like red area here. It can be red sometimes or it can be blue other times, and that is very important to note. You also then get these paralyzing ants. They'll either be red or they'll be blue. They'll spawn in 2 waves. Normally you can just kill the first wave, and do note when you actually kill them that they explode and cause an area depending on their color. You see it right there. When the second wave of ants come in, that's when you need to pay particular attention on which ones you kill. Remember back at the beginning, this beacon is red, and that's where your safety pillar is going to come up. So when you do get that second wave of ants, you need to kill a red ant and stand in the area that it creates. Now our character gets a ring of red around them, and what that means is you can now enter that red area. You'll see when the boss goes and shouts just here, you're going to need to go to safety, and you can actually go on top of the pillar if you have the red ring around your character, as you see there. If you didn't like go in the explosion of the red ant, you would not be allowed onto the pillar. You'd get thrown off, and I had that, experienced it the first time I ran this without paying close attention to the mechanics. And so if you see it's blue, you then need to kill a blue ant and get that blue buff from it. So just be careful. Again, the first wave, like right here, you can kill, but when you get to the second wave, make sure you're paying attention. What color is that beacon? It's red again for us. Now another thing you will note is the buff that we obtained by playing the mechanic correctly. You see that here, we have 41 seconds left on that buff, and you can see only us 3 players, 6, 2 and myself, obtain that buff after we successfully complete the mechanic. This will allow your entire group to get through the boss fight much quicker with that. The buff will only last until, say, the next time she does that phase, so you're going to have to do it correctly again. Many of you may know the cheese strategy, and it can be safer and more reliable rather than relying on killing a particular ant. Here, like a blue one was killed next to me, I made sure to stay away from it, but by the time the boss made the call out, I hadn't killed a red ant, I hadn't stood in the red area, and so it was just safer to me to go to the pillar. I should have stood in that red area of that ant exploding, but I didn't. You can see the ants also just disappear after a certain period, like the blue ant did. And then the boss is going to shout out, and we need to go to our safe zone. And again, we can just go to these outcroppings and hide there. You jump up, climb to the top, and you're okay. And that's what a lot of other people do. And that will lose you a significant amount of damage in this boss fight. So hopefully that clears this up and you know what to do. Just be aware again of those larvae. When she does that call out, this particular one, she puts larvae on everybody, and you just need to swap them between the players. And if you still have a larvae, you're gonna get it's gonna explode on you still, deal a bit of damage, and potentially make you go flying in the air. So you need to be aware of that and make sure you're not getting caught out, particularly if you're a tank. Don't be near another player who has the larvae, and if you have one, try steer clear of other players so you're not screwing them over. Otherwise, you could get put into the air at a wrong time and end up, causing a wipe. Also, do note, the tank has to always block the purple fury attack, otherwise she will enter like her enraged state and cause everybody to take lots of area damage with that mist mechanic. You can see her do it one time here, and if she's doing that repeatedly, you need to do enough damage to phase her. And again, she shouldn't be doing it repeatedly if the tank had correctly blocked the fury attack. Overall, the dungeon is definitely one of the easiest and fastest to complete of all of the level 50 dungeons for sure. Be aware of the different loot you can obtain, and it has like one of the best bracers to use for damage dealers, along with a useful cloak, super good daggers, pretty much best in slot right now, and a decent book for healers. Overall, the dungeon definitely has good stuff going for it, and if you do want to complete the exploration codex for it, you as well will have to play the mechanic properly, surviving the intense fury. Most of the times people just cheese it though, and you will be losing out on quite a big damage buff. The rest of these achievements fairly straightforward. Kill 10 of each of these specific enemies, and the first one is basically beat the first and the second boss, and then beat that last boss 7 times. Overall, I hope this was somewhat insightful and helps you on your journey within Throne and Liberty. So thanks all for watching, and we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.